Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Houston, agency owner with Goosehead Insurance, and we're here today to do another episode of Your Insurance Minute. So we meet every Friday at noon to discuss insurance information, to make sure that you understand what's on your policy, but more importantly, what you're covered for and what you're not covered for, and also make sure that you have an information and understanding of the fine print that's in the policy. So that's what we do every Friday, and we've been tackling a couple of topics. Primarily, we've been looking right now at the homeowner's insurance. So we've talked about an annual review and the fact that after a period of time, you need to have your policy reviewed. We've also talked about one of the most important categories on your homeowner's insurance, the dwelling coverage, which really impacts the rest of the coverage that is on your policy. So today we're going to tackle the next couple of items that are going to be covered on your homeowner's insurance policy. And they're the categories that are going to be titled as other structures or personal property. So let's look at other structures first. So other structures is going to be a component of the coverage that's on your policy that is going to impact the amount of coverage you have for anything that is not permanently attached to your home. So think about whether or not you have a fence attached or surrounding your property. When there's a hailstorm or windstorm or there's some catastrophic event that you might have actually encountered, there can be an expectation that there will be some damage that is done to your fence. So that damage would be covered under the category of other structures. Other items that might be categorized underneath that particular topic is going to be a tool shed that you might have in the back, or playground furniture, or she shed, right? We all enjoy that new commercial that is out about the she shed. So those are going to be the areas that will be covered under the other structures portion of your homeowner's policy. So let's look at the next component. That's going to be your personal property. So this is a really important component that a lot of people don't pay attention to. And it really is going to define how you come out of this catastrophic event that you and your family may actually experience. So most importantly is going to be making sure that your house is covered and that you're able to rebuild it. But the next is going to be all the contents that are within it. And that's going to be what would be covered under the personal property. So as you're looking at the personal property, think about all the items that you bought into the house. Think about all of the clothing, all of your electronics, all of your furniture, all of your appliances, and then also think about all those items that you may have purchased since you came into the house. Think about all of your pots and pans and your dishes. And all those items are going to be categorized under what we call personal property. So the best way to think about it is when you moved into the house, all those items that you bought in, those are personal property. And they can be covered two different ways on a homeowner's insurance policy. The one way that people think is the best is going to be it defined as coverage under personal property for ACV, or actual cash value. And that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So when you've got actual cash value, what that means is whatever that item cost minus depreciation. So if you've got a 50-inch TV, and let's just say if you were to go down to Best Buy and the TV costs $2,000, remember I have no idea how much these TVs cost, but the TV were to cost $2,000 and it's covered under your policy with ACV, the company is then going to ask, how old is the TV? And if the TV has some age on it, maybe it's 2 or 3 years old, you won't get the full $2,000 that it costs to go to Best Buy and actually buy a new one. You're going to get a lower amount based on the depreciation. So maybe you get $1,000 or $1,500. What you want to do is look at that personal property component and make sure it's covered at what is called replacement cost. And then replacement cost is going to be actual cost that it would be today to replace it. So if you go down to Best Buy and the TV is going to cost $2,000 to replace, that's what the insurance company is going to give you. So think about that relative to every item that you have in your house. So when you have a catastrophic loss, every item that you have in your house will have to be listed, and then there'll be a retail amount assigned to it. And then with replacement cost, you get that money back at replacement cost up to the limits of your policy. If you have ACV, you can expect that list to then be assigned a depreciated amount based on its age, and then that's the amount you will get up to the limits of your policy. So you definitely want to make sure that your personal property is going to be covered at replacement cost. So whatever it costs for you to replace those items, that's what you should expect to get. And that's how you make sure that you're covered so that you don't have to worry about having to deal with other issues when you're going through all of the emotional side of a catastrophic loss for you and your family. So, in summary, we've covered annual reviews, we've covered dwelling coverage, and today we've covered other structures and personal property. So next week, we're going to cover a couple more items off the homeowner's policy. But in the meantime, as an agency owner with Goosehead Insurance, I shop across 30 different carriers to be able to provide my customers with the best coverage at the best price. So if you're moving into a new home or a new apartment, or you're buying a new car, give me a chance to give you a quote. Or more importantly, for those that have existing policies, why don't you go ahead and send those to me so that I can give you a review and see whether or not you're adequately covered. I'd love to help. See you next week at noon on Friday, and we'll talk some more. Have a good weekend.